As you return home, your son runs down the garden path with his arms open. Papa. Okay, dope. I pickpocket her. Your son. You pickpocket your son? Oh, yeah. Whatever. So should I roll? Okay, roll sleight of hand. We'll cut over to Dave. Dave, you wanted to go into town, right? Shop, see if they heard of the... Okay, we'll come back to you. Carl, you wanted to go check in on your goat grooming business? Is that right?
Can you get that? Shut up!
Carl? Hey, sorry, I'm back. Whose turn is it?
I'd also like to buy some health potions.
Volume, Dave. Oh, I crit. That's it. I'm done. I've had it with you all. I'm done. There's something magical about sitting around a table in person and playing D&D. Crowding around a map and figuring out where to go next, watching your friends roleplay and interact with each other, and obviously snacks. But life doesn't always allow for that, and sometimes we have to play online. Welcome to the table. I'm Kelly, and I'm going to share some tips for making online D&D better. The ability to play D&D online has been huge. Now you aren't restricted to only playing with people in your area, and if people from your group move, it no longer means disbanding and starting the search all over. Many groups, including my own, moved to playing online during COVID, and although we have moved back to in-person play some of the time, we still do play online frequently. Because sometimes everyone has had a hectic week and we don't feel like driving an hour each way when that time could be spent playing instead. But just like anything in life, there's a cost. The convenience of online play comes at the cost of quality. And although I don't think playing online will ever be as good as playing in person, you can make your online games better. The first and most important tip is short sessions. Keeping sessions shorter and moving quicker will help keep your players focused. Interacting with people on a screen just isn't as engaging as interacting in real life, so our ability to stay attentive and be focused is greatly reduced. I would much rather leave a session feeling like it wasn't long enough and that the next session can't come soon enough, rather than leaving feeling exhausted and bored. If your group comes in knowing that they only have a limited amount of time to play, then they're going to want to get the most out of their time, and they're more likely to be actively engaged and focused. The ideal online session length for your group will depend on the people in your group. For the next few sessions, try reducing your session length by a half hour each session. Keep doing this until you hit a length where everyone was engaged the whole time. I know that only playing for 1 or 2 hours might seem crazy coming from 3 to 6 hour in-person sessions, but having shorter sessions where everyone leaves excited will be more fun in the end. In order to actually finish a campaign, shorter sessions require a faster pace. And because you're competing with all of the distractions that are staring your players down, like that little new tab icon just sitting there begging to be pressed.
Click me! I'll show you the world! We can do anything!
Anyways, because you're competing with all the distractions at your players' fingertips, a faster paced session will help keep them focused. Keeping the plot and the session moving along means less time where each of your players are sitting there without anything to do. The faster session pace can be helped by making use of downtime in between sessions. It's great to have a group chat where you can strategize or just schedule times, but you can also make use of this space to message your group in between sessions and ask if there's anything the players want to do, like stock up on health potions, do research at the local library, go and do some general investigating and asking around. If these activities aren't central to the plot and you're not missing out on any key NPC interactions, then definitely have your players roll checks and do these tasks via message between sessions. Speaking of chatting, it's important for D&D groups to have some time to chat and get to know each other. I think it's fair to say that most people either play with friends or become friends with the people they play with. So of course you want to hear about what's going on in their lives. This also gives time for everyone to get settled in, builds in some buffer time for people who are late, and most crucially, allows for time for everyone to set up and test all of their equipment, including the GM. Nothing kills the flow of a session more than stopping to diagnose a camera or mic problem, or rolling initiative and then waiting 15 minutes while the DM figures out how to put their maps in Roll20. Use that time to get your maps sorted, get everyone's tokens in there, make sure they have the link and that everyone can log in to whichever VTT you're using. And using a VTT is great. It's one of the advantages of playing online, so you might as well make use of it. But make sure you're choosing one that helps make your sessions better instead of getting in the way. My group initially used Roll20, but it has so many features that we weren't using, they kind of just got in the way and we were spending more time trying to diagnose problems than actually playing. We've moved over to Owlbear Rodeo, which has far fewer features, but it's perfect for what we're using it for. This doesn't just apply to VTTs, but to any tool that you're using to play online. Make sure it's actually helping you run the game better and not getting in your way. The next tip is to use video chat instead of just audio. I know there may be some people in your group who are resistant to this, and I definitely don't always want to be on camera, but it makes such a massive difference that it really is worth it. Being able to read people's facial expressions, see when they're about to speak, let your friends know that you're laughing at their joke without interrupting them, the list goes on. Nonverbal communication is so crucial to the way that we communicate, and so if you're playing with video off, then you really are compromising your experience. Which leads me to my next tip, which is to invest in your setup. If D&D is one of your main hobbies and you mainly play online, then it might be worth it to invest a bit in making your experience better. And this doesn't just have to be money, it can also be time. Taking some time to figure out a better setup using the equipment you already have can make a big difference. This can be as simple as stacking some books to get your phone up higher, or playing by a window or moving another lamp into your room. Let me know down in the comments if you'd like a more in-depth video about the setup that I use, routing music through the call, camera options, and gear recommendations for different setups according to different budgets. When you're playing in person, the conversation can flow naturally, people can jump in, and it's not a big deal if two people speak at once, because you can usually hear both. With the nature of video calls, each person has to speak one at a time. And because of lag, it can be difficult to pick your time to jump in. What can end up happening is you have some players who are always talking, and your more shy players just sit and listen. With online play, you as the DM will need to be a little bit more active in directing the call and asking questions to individual players. If you haven't heard from a player in a while, you can directly ask them what they would like to do or if they have any questions. Once you're in initiative, this is handled for you by the initiative order, but out of initiative, you can help facilitate the conversation by making sure that all of your players are participating. The longer one of your players goes without actively participating, the more likely they are to zone out or open that tab and start doing something else. Along with checking in during your conversations, you can also do your best to make sure there isn't too much time in between each of your players having something to do. If you split the party, make sure you cut back and forth between groups more often. Try to limit long roleplay scenes with just one player. If that player is having a big story moment, by all means do that, but try not to stack a session with more than one or two. This also means running combat as efficiently as possible so that your players don't feel like they can take a turn and then just zone out, forcing you to recap everything that has happened on every turn. There are lots of things you can do to make your combats more efficient, like pre-rolling your damage, using an initiative tracker like Improved Initiative to track your initiative and run all of your monsters, and if you have a large number of enemies, running them as a swarm. Earlier in this video, I mentioned running your sessions and your plot at a faster pace. For some tips on specifically how to do that, you can check out this video here. I appreciate you.